All right, we're alive. Hi, Josh. How are
Hi,
you?
Ching. How are you? It's good to see you in person.
I know it's been so weird, like
Yeah.
talking to each other on a clubhouse and not seeing the person's face. So, yeah, I wanted to thank you for being my guest today and also being so gracious, helping me and hosting our what do you call iPhone video production on Clubhouse.
It's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, Clubhouse has been awesome meeting everybody and all that kind of stuff. But I love what you're doing on Clubhouse with that cell phone room is awesome because, cell phone video kind of democratizes what we do and gives everybody the opportunity to kind of go out and shoot these amazing videos. And I think, you know, uh, your Yang Gang Diary. I mean that just shows you what you can do with a cell phone.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Tell me a little bit, or tell our audiences a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just basically, I wanted to find out what is you working on and your background and your project. I basically. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, and I've been doing this program since March 27 last year when pandemic hits. So I feel like I was feeling very isolated with the world and my friends. So I started interviewing my family member first, and then people I know very well, and then extend to people I do not know very well. So it's like today you are my 103 episode.
Oh wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's
Thank you.
incredible that you've made it last so long. I mean, so many people have started projects like this and just kind of let it go. So it's amazing. Congratulations. That's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. My name is Josh Davidsburg. I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I teach broadcast production, broadcast journalism, and documentary at the Philip Merrill College of Journalism at the University of Maryland. I'm a senior lecturer there. I've been working full time for the University of Maryland for about 7 years, I think. What year is it? I've been working for several years, and then I was an adjunct for a year and a half before that. I started adjuncting around 2010. So been kind of teaching for about 10 years. And then, I was a broadcast journalist before that. I worked at a bunch of TV stations across the country up and down the East Coast, at Baltimore, Salisbury, Maryland, Fort Myers, Florida. My dad was a TV reporter, so that's kind of why I went into that. But I always wanted to get into directing and always loved movies. And so when the opportunity to do a documentary came up, and I finally had the job when I was teaching to give me the time to do that, I jumped at the chance and finished my first feature documentary 2019, screened at a bunch of film festivals, finished it at Slam Dance, and now it's available on Amazon. It's called Queen of the Capitol. We followed
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks.
Yeah.
It
So what
still
is it
gives me
about?
chills to think about it. So we followed Muffy Blake Stevens, who is a government bureaucrat by day, a drag queen crusading for charity by night. She's a part of this group called the Imperial Court of Washington, D.C. They are a philanthropic drag group. So every year they elect an emperor and an empress to be their figureheads and to kind of lead the organization, raising money and doing these amazing things for charity. And so we followed Muffy for a full year as she campaigned and ran for empress. And because they're a philanthropic group and they aren't professional drag queens, when they're not in drag, they all have day jobs. And their day jobs, because it's Washington, D.C., a lot of them work for the government when they're not in drag. So there are all these federal employees working by day in these big, gray government buildings. And at night, they go on and put up these amazing, colorful outfits and do drag and raise money for charity. It was a crazy year following them around. It was insane.
How did the whole idea came about? Did you discover them or they approach you?
So I can't take credit for finding the story. I had an amazing student. So I was teaching a multimedia class in the summer, and the end of the semester project was they had to go out and do basically like a micro documentary like a 3-minute documentary, and they had to find a really interesting person to do a story on. And one of my students went to DC Pride, and Muffy's hair just stood out across the street. And so my student marched right up to her and said, I want to do a story on you for my class. And she did it. It is one of the best stories I've ever gotten in that class. And I was talking to my students after class one day, and they said, what else do you want to do besides teaching? And I said, I've always wanted to make a documentary. And Brandy said, why don't we do one on Muffy? And she set up the first interview. She said we sat down and talked to Muffy, and Muffy told us all about the court and the academy and all the amazing things that they do in Washington, D.C. And I was like, this is the story I got to tell. And so Brandy is a co-producer on the documentary, student in college, now has an IMDb credit. I brought with me 2 other students, one who is both of them actually, phenomenal cinematographers, and they helped along the way as well. And we kind of did it as like, a side project from the work that we were doing in school. And that's how the idea came along. And then I was able to make it into a full feature with, great opportunity for my students too, which was pretty awesome.
So from the time you get the story and from filming, how long that process take?
So we started filming in September 2014. We filmed Muffy. We followed Muffy for about a year and a half. So it was like a year of kind of high-speed production, following Muffy from one coronation through to the end, where she ran and either she was or was not elected. And then we did a few interviews kind of following up that, just to kind of fill in the gaps for that year that we needed. So it was about a year and a half of production. And then because it's not my full-time job, it took me a lot of time on post-production to really like get everything together. And I raised money late, so we didn't have a ton of money. Most of it was out of our own pockets. And so all of the transcriptions I did by hand. So like that took a long time. So we finished filming like January 2016, and then we premiered 2019 in June.
Wow.
Yeah, a long process.
Yeah. So did you do the editing yourself, or you have a team?
I did pretty much everything besides like the help of my students and the phenomenal videos that they shot. They helped me shoot. I did everything myself. Me and my students did all of the pre-production, the production. The only thing that we didn't do is we didn't do the music. We hired a phenomenal composer who was just starting her career out. And she did the music for us. And then we also hired an audio engineer who did all the mixing.
That's great.
Yeah.
So now I didn't see the whole film yet. I saw your trailer. It's very, very good. And
thank you.
The picture you gave me as this cover, you're in it. So are you in it in the film sometimes?
No, I'm not. There was we had a lot of behind the scenes, when we're doing documentary stuff. We wanted to take a lot of behind the scenes photos and stuff. And so that was us following Muffy at the Walk to End HIV. in DC. I personally wasn't in it. It was strictly observational documentary with interviews and stuff thrown in as well.
That's great. So, how did you apply for lots of festivals? Like, how did the process of a slam? What do you call
slam dance?
Like materialize?
Sure. We did apply for a lot of festivals, and as you know, it is like an up and down emotional roller coaster. We started off. We applied for. We applied for about 6 months of festivals, 9 months of festivals of straight rejection. They just rejected us left and right. And then finally we hit on a smaller regional film festival in like the DC area called the Chesapeake Film Festival. And then we also hit at a pretty pretty good sized LGBTQ film festival, Cinema Diverse, out in Palm Springs. And then after that, it was just left and right. We were getting into film festivals and like left all of that rejection behind us. And then we got into the Virginia Film Festival, which is like a great regional film festival to get into. We figured that would kind of end our film festival run. And on a whim, I hadn't entered Slamdance the year before, so I figured I would do it one more time. You know, it's one of the top independent film festivals in the country.
Yeah.
And so we entered and got in, which, you know, they get 8,000, 8,500 submissions. I mean, a lot of shorts and like that kind of stuff. But yeah, so it was an amazing way to kind of cap off our festival run.
Yeah.
Also, it was amazing that they took us because it wasn't a premiere; it was a you know, kind of ended the run. But it was one of the most incredible film festivals. Just such a supportive network of filmmakers. I don't know if you know the story of Slamdance, but
Tell me.
A bunch of filmmakers who didn't get into Sundance, you know, in the 80s or 90s, decided they were going to start their own film festival there. And then it started to get so popular that a bunch of kind of these parasite film festivals popped up. And then all of those died out and Slamdance kind of became its own thing. And now is kind of like this punk rock version of Sundance. And this was like one of the last film festivals before everything shut down. So it was such an incredible experience. And I'm so lucky that we had it.
So from your story, I understand that, well, when I apply for festival, I really don't have a strategy. I go on Film Freeway and I just type in documentary and then I see whatever is available, I just apply for. And I did not understand, like, say, if in Toronto, like a TIFF, if I want to apply for TIFF, I should not apply for the film festival is in Toronto, which is smaller. And so by the time I look at the TIFF is available and all their questions, it's very daunting because I feel like I'm not qualified, you know, because I already applied for other film festival is in Toronto.
Right. Well, and you know, the film festival strategy, you can have this great film festival strategy and it won't matter because maybe like the wrong person is looking at your documentary, like the wrong person is a screener. So, you know, I think you want to try and come up with a strategy, but you don't want to stick to it. You know, it's like making a documentary, right? Like we come up with a plan, but we don't stick to it. It's always difficult. I mean, you can't predict who's going to get into what and what's going to get into where. And you want to try and focus on where you think your film will be successful. But, you know, who's watching your film?
Sometimes some film festivals, you give it to them and they give your film to some assistant or student of film school. And so random, right? I mean, it's what
what if the person who was watching it was like really hungover that day and had a fight with their partner and then like hates everything, right?
So this is segue a little bit. I tell you, I would love to show you when we finish. Show you like a 13-minute video. I don't know if it's like so. How to say, what's the word, kosher or regular, because okay, so I won the our film, you know, my Yangon Diary just last week won Toronto documentary film festival. It's not the big one, okay? Toronto probably is a small festival, but what they did, you tell me if it's like natural, they sent me a video of 13 minutes with a trailer of ours and then have 8 people talking about our film. They are Canadians. It's called feedback video. But I have a feeling these people, they're juries. They're festival juries. They don't call them jury. They call them audience. And when I watched that video, I cried because I never have seen 8 people talking about our film this in detail because they really watched it.
That's amazing.
And they commented in a very detailed way.
Right.
So tell me, is this normal?
Yes. and well, so that part, that's not normal. Like to get that kind of feedback, that's amazing. But the feeling that you're feeling is normal. And tell me, so Yang Gang Diary just started releasing, right? You didn't have time before the pandemic to screen anywhere, right?
No,
you haven't been able to watch it with a big audience yet, right?
No.
It is a completely different feeling, unlike anything you've ever had before. I mean, it is nerve-wracking up until the point where about halfway through, then you start to feel a little comfortable. But then, when people start reacting to the funny parts in the movie or the sad parts in the movie, there's no feeling like it. I'm sure it's very similar to like if you were a stage performer or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's also something about it where you're kind of like, they don't all know that you're sitting right there, or they don't think that you're sitting right there, so they're not like reacting to you. Yeah. It's a little more voyeuristic almost,
Yeah.
But I did a documentary short with a buddy of mine several years ago. It was the first time that I started entering it into film festivals. We just decided to shoot something one weekend. We went out, we shot it, and got into the DC Shorts Film Festival. First film festival we ever got into with anything.
Yeah.
And going to see that, 5-minute documentary short with a bunch of people, that's when I was like hooked. I'm like, I got to do more documentaries. I got to do a feature. This just is incredible. And
live music, after,
yes,
like, right? Live music, you play at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's not common, right? You did not nobody make you a goddamn 13-minute video.
No, that's now
I put that video on my Instagram so people can.
I will take a look. That's awesome.
It's even more powerful than just our trailer, because it's real people talking about the film, but they're not Americans. They're Canadians. So anyway, all right. So thank you so much. Now tell me a little bit like your background, like how you grew up and where you grew up.
Yeah, so my dad was a TV reporter. I was born in Atlanta, grew up in Maryland, grew up basically in between Baltimore, Annapolis, DC, kind of like that area. My dad was a TV reporter. He worked for Network for NBC back in covered Vietnam, covered the Kent State shooting, like big network reporter. When he met my mom, they decided to settle down in Atlanta. They moved to Maryland. And so I spent my life kind of following him around the newsroom and always kind of wanted to do that. Then in high school, my mom bought us my mom and dad bought us a camcorder, little, cheap camcorder.
Yeah.
And for my AP US history class, I talked the teacher into letting me shoot a video instead of writing a paper. And so, we had to do like a paper on something in U.S. history, and we got the Beatles. So we went to the city dock in downtown Annapolis and interviewed people on the street about the Beatles. And then I hooked up 2 VCRs. We didn't have a way to edit back then.
Yeah.
So I hooked up 2 VCRs, and that's how I picked the sound bites. I'd hit play on one and record on the other, and hope that it lined up as best as possible.
Yeah.
And when I got to college, I learned how to edit on tape to tape, before we did nonlinear. And they're just, going into documentary was just really difficult, or going into, making movies at that time was really difficult. And going into TV news wasn't as difficult because my dad was in it. So I kind of understood the business, how to get into it. And so I did that, and I was a reporter for 7 years. Did a little marketing in between college and journalism. And then when the market crashed in 2008, I did a little bit of PR. And while I was doing PR, that's where I really learned how to shoot and edit. And then I started adjuncting and started full-time at Maryland. And
tell me a little bit about a reporter. I always, deep inside of me, when I watch news, when people report, especially in the war zone, right? A really dangerous places. I always want to say, I want to have that job.
Yeah, it is. I would say it is the most fun job you can have most of the time. Sometimes it can be really depressing and hard to do.
Yeah.
And but every day it's like making documentaries, right? Like every day is something completely different. Right. You go in, you pitch your story. One day you're sitting in a courtroom listening to a trial. The next day you're out covering a brush fire and you're in a helicopter. The day after that, you might be out counting dolphins on a boat. It is an incredible job. And I loved it. I think, there's a lot of politics and BS that kind of go into working in a newsroom, and like there are a lot of problems with local news, and I've kind of moved past that. But I love giving the opportunity and teaching young aspiring journalists how to do that and how to go out and tell the best stories in the amount of time. Because as TV news reporters, we get a minute 15 to tell our story, right? Minute 15, right? Wow. Like you got to learn how to really be concise in a minute 15. Right. And I think that's helped me with the documentary too, because, it's a lot harder to tell a shorter story than it is a longer story, right? How long was your first cut, right?
6 hours.
6 hours, right? Yeah. And then it got harder and harder as you cut it down, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
So that's fascinating. So now then you said you gradually started to teaching. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So in 2008, when the market crashed, I was a full-time freelancer at WBAL Baltimore and Maryland Public Television, kind of splitting my time between the two places. Market crashed. They cut all of their freelance reporters. But on the same day that they cut everybody, I got a job doing public relations. And I didn't love public relations. I loved the people that I worked with. It was with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources. So I loved like that, working with the environment and doing that kind of stuff. But I didn't like writing press releases. And so I borrowed a camera, took it to one of our press conferences, shot a video and put it together. And I thought it was terrible, but they all loved it, because it was like the first thing that I'd shot and edited since college. And so that gave me the time to really like dive in and relearn how to shoot and edit and like really like work on that side of the craft. And then an adjunct teaching position, part-time, opened at the University of Maryland. And because I had the reporting background and I had the shooting and editing skills, I was able to teach one class that used to be taught by two different people. It used to be taught by a reporter and by a photographer or photojournalist. And I was able to do both. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I did that for a year and a half, and then a full-time position opened doing the exact same class, and I moved into that, and that has been the most amazing job I've had.
This is great, because usually college, they hire 70 adjunct and hire seven what do you call full-time, right?
Right. And we do. I mean, we have a lot of adjuncts, which with at the University of Maryland in the journalism school, our adjuncts are kind of different than like your normal adjuncts in like some of the other colleges, like in they might be hiring like people who are trying to full-time adjunct. But in the journalism school, because we're so close to DC, we get adjuncts from the Washington Post, we get adjuncts from all the TV stations in DC. And these are people that work full-time, but they just kind of want to try teaching and, love to give back to students. So like, they'll take one class, two classes, and then take a break. And, so we get all these amazing adjuncts from all over DC. But, the full-time position has just given me this opportunity that gave me the opportunity to make a documentary. I'm working with students like every day, seeing where they're going. So right now I live in Norfolk, Virginia, and 3 of my students are on-air reporters here, which is amazing. Like I can turn on the TV and see the work that my former students have done.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's the most amazing feeling.
Yeah. So how's your schedule like compared to as a reporter to now have a, professorship? Is it much more predictable now?
Oh, it's a lot more predictable and a lot more flexible, So I'm in the classroom 2 days a week, 2 long days a week, right? Tuesday and Thursday, I am teaching all day. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday are grading, meetings, all that other kind of stuff. And I'm supposed to do research, but as a professional, my research is doing something like making a documentary or shooting video and doing that kind of stuff. So it's a lot more flexible. And then, I'm a 9-month employee. So my summers I have to work on projects, and, we get winter break and all that kind of stuff to work on projects. And that's really the only way I would have gotten this thing done in the 4 years that it took me to get it done.
Yeah, that's great. So tell us a little bit about your current project. You have a new project.
Yeah, so we're still in pre-production for the documentary that we're just getting started. But we're actually starting our first pre-production shoot in a couple weeks, and we're following a couple of Baltimore boys who are studying to become professional ballet dancers. And so they go to this prestigious Baltimore ballet school. They're all high school, middle school, and younger. And it is completely free for any boys. It's expensive for girls, but completely free for any boy who wants to go. And even down to the shoes, they pay for the shoes. And so it's created this amazing opportunity for boys who wouldn't be able to afford to do ballet any other way. And it brings more boys from diverse backgrounds into the art. So we're going to start full production in the fall. And we're going to follow a few of these boys throughout the whole year as they learn ballet, and then hopefully at the end of the year, a couple of them will graduate from high school and kind of go on to either college or professional, a professional company.
So what is your plan? Are you going to follow like a couple of them and then shoot them sort of as like a character-driven kind of piece, but you really don't know the result, right? How is your structure of your documentary going to be?
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about it the same way that I thought about the last one, right? Where we have kind of a start time and an end time that we're going to try and hit. We never know. We may have to go further, longer. We won't go shorter than a year, a school year. But we're going to start at the beginning of the school year and follow these boys through a full year. At the end, if we don't think we have enough for a documentary, we may continue another year. But our goal is to try and see what we can get in a full year. Like with Queen of the Capitol, we knew that at the beginning of September, the drag queens had this thing where it was called the coronation, where they crowned their emperor and empress. It was this big, elegant, like pomp and circumstance, amazing event. And we knew like the following year they would crown another drag queen and emperor. And so we would follow Muffy for a full year because she said she was going to run for empress, as she campaigned and ran for empress. And so we kind of had that beginning and that end, and we just kind of had to fill out the middle. And that's kind of what we've got going with this one as well. We have the beginning of the school year where they're just kind of getting back from the pandemic. And then we've got the whole year to follow them. And then at the end, they find out whether they get into certain summer programs. And those summer programs usually lead to a professional dancing career.
Hey, our friend Peter is here. Our friend Darian is here. Hi, Darian! So Darian, look, our Josh is here. He's very handsome, just like you. Because it's funny. I've never met Darian before, right? I interviewed him like a few weeks ago. So it's kind of very, I don't know, kind of strange, they never meet someone, but
I feel like we've all been on a conference call on Clubhouse for like the past
Zoom call or Clubhouse. So speaking of a Clubhouse, now Darian's also in the audience. Tell me, how did you get into this whole thing, and how do you feel right now?
So I can't remember how I found out about it, but I did fill out I tried to get on, and I was put in the wait list. And then a buddy of mine who is really big in social media saw my name in his waiting to get on list or whatever, the alert. And so he let me in, and he hasn't been active on it really since. But but I started going to a lot of the film rooms, and I remember sitting in a room one night late, and Spike Jonze, the amazing director Spike Jonze, just popped into the room and was taking questions. His name wasn't on like the list of people that were going to be in the room either. He was just there, and that kind of blew me away. And just the access to people like that was kind of made something in my mind think like I should do more of this. And then I've been in a bunch of rooms, and there was a lot of really good advice, but a lot of the advice didn't really work for documentary filmmakers. I remember I was in one room, and somebody was asking about documentary funding, and people started talking about investors and like, you know, where to look for investors. But, you know, with us, with documentary filmmakers, we're not really looking for investors. We're looking for donors. We're looking for people who don't necessarily care about getting their money back. They'd rather donate their money to a good cause, maybe write it off on their taxes. And so I jumped up and started talking about fiscal sponsorship. And I got a bunch of questions about that. And so I thought maybe we should start a documentary room. And we've had a documentary room that runs every Wednesday, 2:30 Eastern time on Clubhouse. And it's such, I mean, like all of the rooms.
How long do you run that? How long? 2:30 to when?
2:30 to about 4 o'clock.
Oh,
sometimes
did you do it today?
4:30.
Did you do it today?
I did not. One of the people that has been really active recently, Sina Canada, she started running it today. So I sent her a message asking her if she could take care of it.
Totally Thank you so much for being here with me at 4 o'clock.
That's awesome. This is great. Yeah.
And so overall, that's how you get in, and you must feel it has some value for you. And also your contribution is also to the community, which I benefit from, you know, knowing you. So how do you feel about the whole thing, like in general?
I mean, it's amazing networking. Like the people that I've connected with, like connecting with you and Darian and everybody else has just been incredible. I mean, A, we're making new friends during a pandemic, right? Which is incredible. B, we're making all these great work connections, and like, we may not work together right away, but maybe there's something down the line that we can work together on. You know, with documentary filmmakers, a lot of times it's like a army of one, and you don't have this connection with other filmmakers who are doing the same kind of work. So it's kind of been nice to share battle stories with other documentary filmmakers. And, you know, I love teaching. Teaching is what I do. And so this gives me an opportunity to reach other people who I can kind of help out. And, you know, it's amazing to like talk to you and learn about your film and then get a chance to see it. And, you know, and they're like, the great thing about that documentary room is people kind of pop on who have fantastic documentaries that, you know, that I had seen before that I love. And I didn't know anything about the director, and now I get a chance to meet the director and talk to the director. And, you know, like the guy who did Class Action Park has been on a bunch of times, and the woman who did the Barkley Marathons, which is like this fantastic documentary about ultramarathon, a certain ultramarathon race that is like, you know, nobody ever wins it. It's a fantastic documentary. I highly recommend it. But she's, you know, a regular in the documentary room. So it's just been incredible to kind of like connect with people.
Yeah. We're not paid for promoting Clubhouse, but
They should sponsor you.
I am guilty about being on it for many, many hours a day. I think it's interesting. A lot of my friends, when I ask them, are you on Clubhouse? I have invitations. You want, I can invite you. Actually, a lot of them are not interested. Very interesting,
really?
Huh? Yeah, a lot of them.
I think there's I think there's a blowback right now. You know, there's so much social media, and the big social media companies like your Facebooks and stuff, you know, it's such a bad connotation, and the stuff that they do kind of surprises you every day of, you know, you're always hearing these things about our personal data and stuff that Facebook is, you know, taking and ruining. And I think I can understand why somebody wouldn't want another social media platform. But I've gotten a lot out of it. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I think I'm trying to thinking what kind of people like to be on Clubhouse. I don't think it's for everybody. It takes certain personality to like it and to utilize it and to benefit for them. What kind of personality? I think mostly is people benefit are more or less outgoing type of people, because you have to use your voice to talk, right? If you don't talk on Clubhouse just to listen, and you are not going to make connections, because no one knows when you sit there and just listen. Right. You may learn something, right?
It's like any networking opportunity, right? You have to, you're not going to hit it out of the park if you don't step up to the plate, right?
Right. So I find myself like I often would, I hear something, I will go up and I will raise my hand. I will talk. I'm not always expert of the subject, but I can always ask questions. So I think I slowly built up an audience of me. And it's, I met you, I met Darren, I met so many wonderful people. It's just really amazing. Yeah.
It's been incredible. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm learning so much. So tell us a little bit about now. Oh yeah, we were talking about your current project. Now I wanted to find out, like, when you teach someone, like a student, for instance, what kind of people apply for school like yours to study in your classroom? Are they already have a little bit of experience as a documentary student, or they're learning from scratch?
No. So generally on the broadcast journalism side, they are right out of high school, undergrad, or if it's a grad student, then it's somebody who didn't study journalism on the undergrad side. And, it is amazing. Like, more and more we have students, but we have cameras in our hand, as we've talked about. We have cameras in our hand our whole life. And a lot of these kids have been using cameras since they were really little. So like they have that experience. And a lot of it is kind of refining it. The storytelling aspect is something that you have to teach from the beginning, and you have to start from the ground up. Most of these students are really interested in journalism and the storytelling aspect of journalism. We have more and more students who want to do documentary. And so in the past year, I've been able to, we actually just started the documentary class at Maryland about a year ago. And that was me going to the deans and saying, I've learned a lot making this last documentary. I can teach a class about it. Let's do it. And so my class is basically everything that I learned doing Queen of the Capitol put into like a semester. So my students, by the end of the semester, what they're finishing up right now is they're finishing up a documentary short, anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes. They're writing a grant proposal. So they have to do a grant proposal in my class. And then earlier in the semester, they had to do a documentary pitch. So I had a panel, a couple filmmakers who I was friends with who came in. Well, they Zoomed in this time, but we'll do it in person, and we'll sit at a big table, and my students will pitch them their documentary just like you would at like a pitch fest or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they'll leave my class with a documentary pitch, with a documentary short, and with a grant proposal. And then if they wanted to, they could take that, use the grant proposal and the pitch to raise money to make a feature doc. Wow. Haven't had anybody do it yet, but
I want to be your student.
You can teach the class. Yeah.
This is awesome. Yeah, this is awesome.
It's a really cool class. I brought some clips from Queen of the Capitol too.
Yeah, should we watch your trailer first?
Sure. Yeah, the trailer is the first one.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, you already told us. Some people are not here. Can you do a very short, when I'm finding the video, tell us just a very short synopsis of your film.
Sure. So Queen of the Capitol is about Muffy Blake Stevens, who is a government bureaucrat by day, drag queen crusading for charity by night. And actually the link in the private chat, the very top one, is the trailer. Yeah.
Is this the one?
That's it. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna make it bigger. Bigger. I'm gonna play now.
Come on, girl.
I'm Leffy Blake Stevens.
Oh, sorry.
I work for the Department of Labor. I'm a legislative analyst.
So there's the quiet, subtle type indoors of, oh,
I'm a drag performer here in Washington, D.C. metro area.
and then there's the, yes, ma'am.
It's the best show in town.
At each coronation, there is going to be the celebration of the accomplishments of the reigning monarchs and a new set of monarchs, and it's the beginning of the new reign.
So the court is quite unique.
I always thought that they were more kind of like the gay man's Renaissance fair.
I'm hot, I'm sweaty, fat, hairy, and old.
It is certainly something that I'm looking at. I can't officially state that I'm a candidate.
She's done so much, and where she's come from and where she's gone is really, really impressive.
Tonight we're announcing the candidates for Emperor and Empress 4.
They will begin politicking, as I like to call
That's
it.
it.
Put your hands together for the Princess of the Senate, Miss Muffy Blake Stevens.
My hair is my signature because the higher the hair, the closer to God.
Everything we do is to raise money to give to someone else.
My next few weeks are going to be sleep, work, and drag. Maybe occasionally sleep, drag, drag.
So that was the trailer. I think
Yeah.
you're muted.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hold on one
There
second.
you go. You're good. You're good.
Okay. So yeah, we can play again. You have two more clips, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
want to
that
see
was
that.
the trailer.
Yeah, that was the trailer.
Um,
So yeah, I lost a little bit of my light because the afternoon gets less sun, so I'm pretty
You get.
okay. So
Gotta get one
so
of these.
tell us the next clip. You have, is that a ring light?
Ring light, but I don't use it as a ring light
Oh.
because when I put it
Oh.
around my
Yeah.
actual camera, it washes
Yeah.
everything out.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by the way, speaking of camera, this camera that do you use iPhone to shoot sometimes?
I do, yeah, sometimes I do. So for this, I didn't. There were a couple shots in there that I did, like when we were on a bus and I needed a shot of like us going into New York City. I used the iPhone for that. I shot this on the Panasonic GH3, which was the best Panasonic that I could get at the
I
time.
don't know who is mostly unconscious. He calls us young guy. Thank you so much, mostly unconscious. Yeah, sorry. So you
okay.
said you use iPhone.
No, I use the Panasonic GH3 for this one.
Oh,
I do
okay.
I do shoot on the iPhone whenever I can. I mean,
Yeah.
the best camera is the camera you have with you, right?
Yeah.
And my students use the iPhone. I've taught classes on iPhone shooting at Maryland. For this one, we wanted, we wanted what we could get from the Panasonic, and at 2014 it was a different iPhone than the one we have now.
Yeah. Do you have the iPhone 12 now?
I do. Yeah. I didn't get the Max, but I got.
It's
got the
crazy. Yeah. It's
MagSafe.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bought a cover on Amazon and like that, and people just like, oh, what are you carrying?
Oh, that's
It's-
amazing.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
just
that.
a cover. Yeah, it's just cover. But it's everybody. I mean, a lot of people says how great it is. I mean, we're doing free advertise again. It's really amazing. Like when I shoot, like I shot a couple of short videos already. It's so sharp.
It's
And
incredible.
yeah. And sometimes when I go out to shoot, like say Andrew Yan, right? Where he was in he's doing lots of what do you call campaigning, meeting people and whatever on the streets. So I go there, I set my tripod, a small skinny tripod with the iPhone 12. I just leave it there when I go up to agree him, because I don't usually always take pictures with him, So I did this time like 2 weeks ago, and so I basically document myself going there to hug him, take picture with him, the whole thing. And then afterwards, I just what do you call screenshot? I just screenshot my video. Even that come out
Looks
so good. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's incredible. I mean, when you think about, you know, when you think about when I started in TV news, the size of the cameras compared to what we have now, it blows me away. And you know, even with DSLRs, like you know, it's incredible what you can get for the money now. It's just amazing.
Yeah. I do have a Sony 7A-S, and then I have a Sony 7A III. I have both.
Nice.
But I'm not using it, you know, because to me it's too bulky. I think the convenience of the iPhone, because you can just put an iPhone. I have, you know, strap, you know, and I just carry it on my neck. I can just walk out, you know, with maybe a credit card in my pocket, right?
Right.
Then I'm all done.
Yeah. I mean, and it's so non-threatening too. You'll get people being much more natural with, you know, when you're using your iPhone compared to a bigger camera.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for audience, if you guys are on Clubhouse, Josh has a Clubhouse on Wednesday 2:30 talking about documentary, and I have a iPhone production on Friday after 12 noon. And we go on for 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So if you guys wanted to learn or just to hang out with us, and Josh often comes on to contribute his knowledge, and also Darren comes on. Darren, are you there still? So anyway, yeah. So you're welcome to join us. It's gonna be, we've done that for 6 times already.
both those rooms, the community is just so supportive in both those rooms. It's really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and Darren teaches 1 minute school on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
He is Mr. Clubhouse. I mean, he's done amazing stuff with Clubhouse.
He has 5 whatever K. He has 5,000 people following him.
And deservedly too. I mean, he always has some of the best advice.
And he just started a new brand like yesterday. It's called Darren Juhl. I think I did it right now. And he said he had this his own brand now, so can talk about stuff other than filmmaking. You know,
I got the club invite. I joined.
Yeah,
I'm
which
part
is
of his
great.
club.
Yeah. I joined in.
Part of the Darien fan club.
Yeah,
yes.
I was joining in. I yesterday I started to drive like 4:30 to drive my son to Queens, from Manhattan to Queens, to fix his teeth, because his teeth has a hole in it. So it's like an emergency, right? So anyway, the driving is so long. That's why it's like I told Darren, I still put my phone in my car. I said, Darren, I can't push the phone very much. I'm driving. So anyway, I listened to them. I think they were together for like 4 hours or maybe more.
It looks like Mostly Unconscious said their daughter is a freshman at the University of Maryland.
Oh,
that's amazing. Such a great school. So I don't know if your daughter is in journalism or
maybe it's your contact, Mostly Unconscious. Is it my contact or your contact? What's his name? Sure. Hi, Mostly Unconscious. Can you tell me your name? Maybe I know you. Oh, Darren Club, Darren, anything. Yeah, so that's great. So I want to ask you a question about documentaries still. Is that what makes someone wanting to make documentary instead of making a narrative? Like what kind of a mindset, and also in terms of the differences between these two genres. One is documentary, one is a narrative, which means you have to have a script. So can you summarize that?
Yeah, I think there's something about, as documentary filmmakers, at least for me, well, first of all, like for me, I love journalism. I care about journalism. And this gives me the opportunity to marry the journalism and the filmmaking together, right? So I think there's like a love of the truth and getting to the truth, for documentary filmmakers. That you know, you have a lot more freedom in a scripted to kind of go off and tell your own story. With a documentary film, you're generally telling somebody else's story, or like telling your real story, right? I don't know. Maybe there's something like a little sadomasochistic in us, that we want to do something that's going to take a lot longer and take a lot more work. Not that doing a scripted documentary doesn't, or a scripted show or movie doesn't take as much work. It's just a lot more. It's, you know, it's different. You know, they say documentaries are made in editing and scripted made in pre-production. But I think it's like a quest for the truth, like to get as close to the truth and as we can. And you know, you can do that in a scripted piece, but it's not the same. There's a level of trust with the audience right off the bat that we get just because we're documentary filmmakers, which, you know, we need to be careful that we don't lose. But but yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult. Like, what drew me to documentary is my dad being an influence on the journalism side, and then my love of movies at the same time, and being able to marry both of them.
Right.
I consider us journalists, even though a lot of
you
people
definitely
don't.
you are right.
Yeah.
I echo your saying very much. I find myself at the beginning of my so-called media interest is you just making videos. For me, I was just making videos. Like, I video concert, I video events, I video our life. But I consider video is just, it could be just one event. Video doesn't have to have fancy storytelling, right? Video doesn't need to have fancy music soundtrack. A video is just a video, sort of like you show it to your family, what's going on, and you just throw them a video. But then I made so many videos. Like, I started to making video in 1988. You figure I'm an old fart here. So I have I have made like those, like, a long time ago, those tapes. Yeah, I think VHS, and then getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and then it's like this small. What do you call those things?
Like mini DV.
Mini DV, mini DV, and then eventually mini DV become digital. And so I have so many different cameras, and but I think for me, I don't think I am able to make a narrative production myself, but it's possible for me myself to make a documentary.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like being a DJ versus being in a band, right? Like, you can go out and be a DJ on your own. You don't, but you need a bunch of people. It's, and it's different skills, right? Like, as a documentary filmmaker, we kind of have to be a jack of all trades. And if you go into scripted, you kind of have to start to specialize, right? Are you going to be a director? Are you going to be, the gaffer, cinematographer? But with documentaries, we have to do everything, which, I think it's good, and it's hard. Yeah.
And I think a lot of time, the things I make is it's very important to find something you can make that is you have access to it, right?
Oh, YouTube, absolutely. Access.
Right? Access is very important. For me, the Young Gun Diary is that I went in first just as a curiosity. I had a curiosity. I just want to capture the event. I did not say, I am making a documentary, I'm here now. I think it will be very different. because I was one of them, one of us.
Well, and I think what sets your documentary apart and kind of like that access is your view of it and how you are, you are a character, right? It's what is it? It's a participatory documentary is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so like that is the access that you're giving the audience to, that sets you apart from like every other political documentary, right? Like your point of view.
Yeah.
With us, it was like access to the court and to Muffy, right? Access into the Department of Labor. So when Muffy isn't in drag, she works at the Department of Labor. So through Muffy, we got that access to get in there.
Yeah. I want to see your other clips.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So the next one we'll play is Muffy talking about drag fashion and kind of what sets her type of fashion apart from other drag queens. And
my feature. Okay, I'm gonna go there.
We filmed this on a trip up to New York. We followed Muffy up to New York while she was shopping for dresses.
Oh, I see.
To say drag fashion, I mean, everyone has their own. In my closet, for instance, looks nothing like Grandma's closet. I kind of built mine around being the hateful Christian. I do a cookie time number from the It's Cookie Time from the movie. This is actually an actual replica of what Shelley Long wore. And so, there's a lot of things that are either kind of the vintagey kind of style or have a 50s knack to them or look like something that someone would wear to church. I do a lot of campy comedy numbers in that. Fake female beauty takes time, money, and pain. And so everyone kind of has their own thing. Some people most definitely do, they see a dress on the red carpet and they want to have that dress recreated to wear the next week. Those are more the fishy queens. Yeah. If they try to look as real as possible, I'm a camp queen. I do comedy, I do camp. I'm fast on my feet to come back with a witty insult to someone. I'm going to interact with the audience. And then there's fishy queens that they want to look as possible as some high fashion model. I do fish, but it's orga. Ready? Yep. Hello.
So you haven't lived until you've had to hide a lavalier microphone on a drag queen. I'll just it was interesting. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we followed Muffy up to New York, and actually the next scene after this one, we actually went dress shopping with her and with the other drag queen and it was amazing. This dress shop that they went to, first of all, he said like 30% of his business was like a drag queen known shop for dresses. And then the other people that were shopping in the store were high school girls looking for their prom dresses. So it was this amazing dichotomy of those two.
Is this in the Village, the store?
I don't even remember.
Lower New York.
Where was it? I don't know. I'll send you. I'll find it.
So I have a question. When you're shooting these scenes, just the last one, is it one camera?
That was one camera. Yep, okay. That was one camera. That was just me running around.
Running around. Yeah. Now you're handheld, right? But mostly because they're moving around.
I was shooting on a monopod.
Monopod. Okay.
Yeah. So I have both a Manfrotto, an old one, a Manfrotto 561 BHVD. I don't know why I still remember those numbers. But it is, if you're shooting on if you're shooting with a like a DSLR or mirrorless, those monopods are often overlooked but amazing. Really? It is much steadier than handheld and much faster than a tripod. And these monopods have like legs at the bottom that flip out. Yeah. The legs are about that wide, so you can you've probably seen them. Yeah,
tiny ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's enough that you can you can set the camera up and just kind of like stand next to it so it doesn't fall.
Yeah.
But
I used the monopod before. It's not like that, just the monopod just on the floor. And then I was like at the fashion show, in Manhattan. It was hard for me to hold it because I keep moving, So
well, if you get the Manfrotto, it'll stand up still. So like I set it and just kind of.
Oh, that's good to know.
Kept my arms near in case I had to catch it. But
that's good to know.
So we actually had a question about audio.
Yeah. Okay.
So I used the Rode Video Link wireless system. Lavalier. It was all lavalier work for that. Since a one-man band.
Does it take a long time for you to lav them?
No, I mean I've done it enough.
Tell our audience in case they don't know what is lavalier.
Lavalier is the little microphone that you see that kind of clips onto somebody's shirt. And if you're watching a movie, they all have lavaliers, but they're hidden. If you're watching a documentary, you could probably see the lavalier. They'll clip it to to collar. The key to good audio for documentary is getting the microphone as close to the person's mouth that's talking. And so with a situation like that, you want to try and use a wireless. And the Rode Video Link, I have the first model. They've gotten smaller and better, but they're cheap. They're like a couple $100, I think, and highly recommend them. You're not going to get as good audio as like a $700 or $800 Sony, but I like it better than the Sennheiser, which is just a little more expensive. And they're so easy to use. So easy to use.
And what else? More questions? And thank you guys for being with us. And we really appreciate. And so do you have a YouTube channel, Josh?
Yeah. So if you go to Lot One Films, that's our. I've got two. I've got Lot One Films.
Okay.
Which is the name of our production company.
Yeah. Why don't you type it in the private link? Then I put it with for our people. Probably in your there's a maybe not. Yeah. There's a short biography in the description in YouTube. Also, I do this a conversation with artists or special person on every Wednesday, 4:00 p.m. Eastern time, and sometimes I add on a Friday show. Sometimes, yeah. So anyway, thank you guys for being with us, and let's continue. How about you type the thing, and then also I play the third clip. How's that?
Okay.
We haven't seen the
clip. The third clip was.
Yeah, tell us. Yeah.
This was actually one of the first things that we shot with Muffy, and we followed her at we followed her and the court as they were walking at the Walk to End HIV in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on a second. HIV walk. I see that. Okay. And then we're sharing it. I'm going to make it bigger.
Has grown so much since we got started. This is a good-looking bunch. You are making the DMV look good this morning out there, everybody.
It's AIDS Walk. We're raising awareness and money for HIV prevention and also a cure. Unless I walk into a bacon sandwich or some hash browns, it's too fall.
Yep. I'm a longtime survivor of HIV, 25 years this January, so this means a lot to me to see all these people out here supporting a good cause.
I'll actually be celebrating my 9th anniversary of living with HIV.
My drag mother is HIV positive. I've lost a first cousin to AIDS. I've lost lots of close families and friends. To be out here supporting the community so we can raise funds so that one day when we come out here, we'll still be doing an AIDS walk, but it will be the walks now that we've ended HIV so we can celebrate actually having a cure.
Goodness, I'm schwitzing already. It exploded. One more. Get in here, baby girl. Show me your piece.
Thank you. No heels for a walk or a parade. No. I did that once. I walked the Capitol Pride Parade in 3-inch heels. I will never do that again. I actually have a pair of red socks that have red and silver glitter on them. So it was a close choice between tennis shoes and the red Crocs. I made those back before the old Pope died, when I would do numbers impersonating the old bigoted Pope. We like the new Pope.
Welcome back. Looking good. Looking good.
My hair is my signature because the higher the hair, the closer to God. And we Christians love to be closer to God because Christian love is all what it's about. I've almost got to where when I hear my name, it is pose. See, I bet she actually wants a picture. Why not? See, told you.
Wait, baby, wait. There you go.
So there's the quiet, subtle type indoors of, and then there's the, yes, ma'am.
We're gonna finish. Woo! Yeah!
This has been a fabulous walk. A lot of great energy, a lot of great camaraderie from people. Just everyone getting together, walking, having a good time, just walking for one cause, and that is to end HIV.
I know I'm not perfect.
That's it.
I have.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So
Great audio. It's so crispy.
yeah, that's a microphone on Muffy.
Yeah.
And then some of the other sound bites were just getting really close with them. We used the Rode Video Mic Pro. And just put it on top of the camera, and you just got to get close. And
yeah,
we also for that one we had a Steadicam, like a mini, one of the little Steadicams.
Yeah,
I think the Merlin 2, I think was the number. And this was like before gimbals really blew up.
Yeah,
and so we just put the camera on a Steadicam and walked for 2 miles with that camera on a Steadicam.
When your main character walking, how do you film him? You walk in front of him and backwards?
A lot of running. So there were, on that shoot, I had 2 students with me who were helping.
Okay.
And
yeah.
so
but you don't have a fancy way, right? You just walk.
Just walk,
side by side. Yeah.
I would say walk, run, move, set up, shoot, run, set up, shoot, run, set up, shoot. With the Steadicam, we were able to kind of, walk and get those cool kind of flying walking shots that we love.
Yeah.
We walked with them at Pride too, which shows, is later in the documentary, and used the Steadicam there as well. And that was just me. And I have never been so sore in my life than walking, a mile and a half with a Steadicam.
How much footage you shot all this year?
I don't, I need to just like take everything and lay it out on a timeline to see how long it is. We have about 4 terabytes of footage.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of organization.
Did you shoot in 4G or not? Okay.
No, I mean, we started in 2014 and 4K was just kind of getting
4K, not 4G.
4G.
Sorry, you mean what I mean. Right. Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So how is the editing process? Like, did you had hard time to edit the piece, or do you already very clear when you shoot, you kind of like follow your treatment or whatever you have?
So my process was I ran everything through transcription software, which did not give me good transcription. So then I went back through and transcribed everything. And while I was doing that, I pulled sound bites. I grabbed the text of sound bites and put them into a document. And I kind of broke it up. I knew which scenes I wanted and what I wanted to talk about. And so I used this app called Scrivener, which is Scrivener. And basically what that is it gives you a big kind of like fake corkboard with Post-it notes, fake, virtual Post-it notes. And each Post-it note, you can put a script in there. So each Post-it note was a scene, And within each scene, I just dropped a bunch of sound bites that I thought I would want to use in that scene. And then, so I went from there, I dove in and started editing and doing the radio edit. And like each scene, I knew the sound bites that I could choose from. And so like I would start kind of placing the, do like a string out of the sound bites first and then cut them down and like go scene by scene in my editing process. I don't know if that's the right way to edit a documentary, but that's the way that I did it.
Did you feel sometimes you're lacking of B-roll, or you had enough B-roll? You thought about that?
So there was.
Because I did. I was like, I need more B-roll.
I think there's a saying that documentaries are never finished; they're just left, right? Which at some point you got to move on and start editing, and then at some point you got to say, I'm done. This needs to go to the sound designer or your composer. So yeah, I think everybody feels that way.
Right.
No matter how much you have. And looking back on it, I'm always like, oh, this is something I should have shot that. I should have shot that. I should have been there for that. But I'm happy with the way it turned out.
Right. So tell us, where can people see it?
Yeah. So right now it's on Amazon. It's on Amazon for rental. If you just look up Queen of the Capitol, it'll pop right up. If you like it, give it a good review. If you can, helps. We're going much wider in June. I don't have a complete list of places that it's going to be, but we're going to be on like Fandango now and like those types of places. So it'll be available a lot more places in June for Pride. And that's our plan right now.
That's great. So Amazon rental, meaning it's not Amazon Prime, right? Meaning people need to pay a fee, like $5 or $6
I think right now the minimum rental is like $3 for the SD version, but you want to watch HD anyway. So it's not expensive, but everybody should watch it because I think it's really good.
Yeah, that's great. So we're almost. I'm giving our audience your YouTube channel. So here we go. That's Josh's YouTube channel.
Thanks for the love, everybody in the audience.
Yes, you have. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mine is Juhl Media, which is this one. And if you like our conversation, click the like or leave. Actually, it's very important to leave some comment. I never really ask my audience, if you can leave some comment in the YouTube description, that's also very helpful for the algorithm, I guess.
Helps the SEO,
Yeah, and then there's a bell, right? You can hit the bell, and then whenever I have a program, you'll know. So, Josh, do you have any other issues? Shall we touch, or we haven't? Would you like to also, in the end, I do a silly word game with my artist. It's called Rapid Fire.
Let's do it.
I ask silly questions.
This is like inside the actor's studio, right?
Oh, really? I don't even know.
It's like it's a great old show that.
Oh yeah, that guy. What's his name?
I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, he passed away.
All I can think of is Will Ferrell's impersonation of him right now.
He
from
has
SNL.
this really low voice, What's his name? Yeah, he passed away lately. He had some like pancreatic cancer or something. Yeah, yeah. This was on Bravo, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I remember that. So, okay. All right. So, anything else serious we want to talk about, or we're good?
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Up for word games. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Yeah. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. I like tea too, but definitely coffee.
Yeah. So if right now I'll take you to a bar, what would you order?
I would probably have a Pilsner. I've been in like a beer Pilsner mood, but I love a good Manhattan.
Okay, for your information, I just quit drinking. I am 93 days.
Congratulations!
Sober.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
I'm very proud of myself, Darren. I'm 93 now. So yeah. Okay, what else? Any country you really like to live or work other than United States?
Argentina. We went to Argentina on our honeymoon, and it was amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. If you were not a journalist, not a teacher, not a documentary filmmaker, what would you want to be?
It's not that.
That's so silly.
Right. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I would. Not a journalist, not a teacher, not a not a filmmaker.
Can't think of any.
Can I play video games professionally?
Yes, definitely.
A professional board gamer.
Of course, you are allowed. Now, how about, what is your favorite color?
Red.
Red. Okay. River or mountain? What kind of person you are?
Bay. I grew up on the Chesapeake Bay. I love the water. I love the water.
Yeah. I see. Yeah. If you had a choice of chicken, beef, vegetable, what are you?
I would say probably chicken. Although
Okay.
it depends on what we're doing with the vegetable. Like, are we talking about like? I would go for like a nice pasta with like a nice pasta sauce, even vegetarian.
Yeah.
Not even vegetarian, like like a pesto or something like that.
Yeah.
I love a good hamburger. I love good beef.
Okay. Yeah.
But
So
I'd probably
like
eat chicken more than I'm trying to be environmentally conscious and all that.
Yeah. I was told beef is not good for environment, right? Beef.
Yeah.
It takes they say it takes a lot of resources to to raise a cow. Anyway, so all right. So if you win tomorrow $20 million, what would you do?
I would so I would set up I would just do documentary full time, but I would also like set up a documentary center at the school at the university, so that to like expand documentary teaching there. That's an incredibly nerdy thing to do with
Well, that just shows how much you love documentary filmmaking. Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, every time I ask someone, it's just always reflect what they love to do. Yeah. Very few people I have asked, they'll say, I'll save it. Put it in my bank.
Bitcoin, right? Invest in
they
Bitcoin.
They always say they want to do something. That's wonderful. So, what language do you speak other than English?
Un poquito español, just very, very little. Enough that I was able to get by on our honeymoon. That's just English and
that's great.
Very little bit of Spanish.
Yeah. Thank you. So
I speak the language of film.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. So do you like to drive your car very fast or just a regular speed?
So I've grown into driving the regular speed.
Because you're a father now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Live life fast, drive regular.
Yeah. That's a very politically correct thing to say.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, well, it's been so nice meeting you, Josh. I really, really appreciate you, and I just feel it's a gift for me to meet people I haven't met before, and thank you for your time.
This was fantastic. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'll see you Friday afternoon, maybe.
Yep. I will look forward to hearing your voice again.
and come to New York, and we'll go have your Manhattan.
Absolutely. My brother lives in New York, so I've been meaning to get up there. Haven't been up in a while.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And also thank you for watching my film. I really appreciate
it. Was incredible. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every minute of it. So
thank you.
I'm honored to have gotten the chance to see it before almost anybody else. Well, except for the film festivals and stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right.
Okay, so I wanted to thank our audience to be with us and make comments, and if you have any questions, and it's too late, we're ending this session. So every Wednesday I talk to my guest, and every week's a little different. Maybe next week I'll talk to a composer. So so keep watching us. And so I'm going to end our session today, and thank you so much. And